I'm Garrett.
I'm Justin.
It's our day off.
Let's get into it.
Thank you for joining me for episode 30 of my lunch break. I hope you're all having a great day. And if you're new, welcome.
He's got the best intro in the world, by the way. It's so good.
We are in Rome, Italy. This was constructed in 1317 and took 600 years to build. Could you imagine? That would be more believable than what I'm about to tell you. And what I'm about to tell you is the mainstream narrative.
He's off on that.
This is actually Richmond, Virginia. It's named the Cathedral of Sacred Heart, and it was constructed in 2 years. Just looking at this place, I wish we could still build like this. I would love to see more of these built today.
Not 2 years, dog. No,
we have zero
not 2
of
years.
them being built today.
That's
not
beautiful.
one. Where's the technology gone? So they say the construction began in 1903, and they put the finishing touches on this 144-foot high cathedral in 1905. Built with a granite foundation, limestone walls, and a copper dome that stretches 118 feet. The construction was perfect to the nearest inch. The cathedral is 1,728 inches wide
No, I don't think so.
and
2 years. That'd be
1,728 inches tall.
even today.
It's exact.
Even
Absolutely incredible
Especially
stuff. And I'm so glad we are given the name of this fireproof tile designer,
planning.
Mr. Raphael. I'm glad we won't be having any fires in this building, thanks to this guy. If we take a look inside, this is just your normal, standard 1900s building. It was simple construction, and I'm shocked it took them so long to build in 1903. What was the whole thing? Was their horse not up for a granite pole that day? 2 years to construct this. What a joke. Now here they were clearly destroying the original. It was even better than what we see today, if you can imagine that. In the beginning, it had marble altar rails.
Yeah, that's
but those
pretty
were destroyed. Because who needs marble altar rails? If my house came with marble
destroyed?
rails, you know I'd be...
You want to talk about that for a second?
What were they destroyed?
Why were they destroyed? Why would you destroy something
was
that...
there fire? I missed it. Did I miss something?
No, it just says they were destroyed.
Okay then. All right.
They just destroyed them. Like, for what reason? I mean, it's marble.
I don't know. That's just really weird.
You don't destroy marble.
It's
for no
weird to
reason.
me.
be marching over to the model home that very day. And if they didn't get it out of my house, I would be forced to get my hammer out. It's just unacceptable. So far, this story is insane. 2 years to construct this place in 1903, before any sort of shipping trucks were available. A nice in-depth story about how these huge granite blocks were transported here would be really helpful, but no. We are not told that information, of course. And they are back to saying
they don't
that
have the
architects are also builders.
They don't actually know when they
Not.
built it.
Here we are told Joseph McGuire is the guy who draws
history
this place up on a piece
Back
of paper.
then was
Okay,
And
pause
he's
that right
such
there.
a
Pause
great-
right there. Look at this. They broke ground in 1903. They didn't even have a
Yeah.
foundation done. Like, there wasn't even a foundation to start building on top of. They're saying that in 2 years, they leveled the ground and built this huge cathedral in 2 years with
There's no cars.
with no cars.
There's no vehicles.
There'd be trains, but who knows if there'd be a
There
train
was
to that
trains.
area. But you're also talking, I want you to think about this. You're talking about dirt roads. They didn't even have like brick roads or asphalt or concrete roads back then. So like, you gotta take in consideration those 2 years, right? Well, that's 2 winters.
well,
That's 2 winters. So let's say 4. It's California. So let's say 4 weeks, 4 months. I mean, out of each year would have been rainy and muddy, and they're still transporting all this heavy material on horse and buggy and train.
Yeah.
So I mean, they say 2 years.
Have you
right?
seen those videos where people put buggy wheels on like trucks and stuff and
Yeah,
try
and they
to
just
go through the
break or they
mud
sink?
and stuff, and they sink and they break off?
Yep.
I don't even think it's possible.
Well, like that's what I'm trying to say. In the 2 years they're quoting here, and who actually knows the history back then, right? They don't really know. They're probably guessing. But in those 2 years, they really only got a little under a year and a half out of it because of the winter months.
Right.
And we still construct things in the wintertime?
Plus, where
Not really.
where did they quarry the stone?
Well, that's less of a concern to me. 'cause
I mean,
there's
that
trains.
takes
they could quarry stone somewhere else and bring it
Trains,
in.
but
yeah,
usually stones are quarried in the mountains, and trains didn't come to the mountains till later.
yeah, you have a point.
They were just across the main parts of the earth.
Let's get back into it though.
Great job drawing it. on that paper that it just appeared here in 1905. Something had to have happened in 1904 and 1903 though, right? How many men were hired to do this job? Or was it just Mr. McGuire
It's a big
alone
place.
building this himself? Or did he have a few sons to help him out? We all know
they're
how
all
much
garbage.
love
Gives you
about the
perspective.
sons at this point.
And all
Because as
buildings
long as
around
you
are
have
garbage. Look
sons,
at 'em.
you're going to get the
You
job
can
done. And we all know it'll only take a few short months. And here I'm looking at this place on Google Earth. And normally when you find one of these incredible structures,
the artwork
you will
on the
find
pillars.
others on the block.
And
or at
okay,
least
so
things
pause
that
that.
don't belong.
Pause real
I
quick.
can definitely tell that they're not one piece. I don't think.
Well,
but
here's
I can see some sectioning.
here's my thought about this. Okay, you think about human nature. Oh, I see something else that's actually very interesting too. I'll bring that up. My understanding with humans, right? If it's easy, we do it routinely, right? And if it's not, unless it's absolutely necessary to the functionality of a place, we don't do it. Why would you do all the decorations on the top of the pillars instead of just doing a regular pillar unless it was easy? Right? Here's the other thing I'm going to say. Look at the doors. You see what I'm seeing?
They're tall.
And they filled the top in with glass windows
Yeah.
to make the doors not
Shorter.
huge,
Yeah.
which means those doors were huge at one point, and then they
Yeah.
modified them. Why?
They made them shorter.
Yeah, they had to modify them. Why? Probably because they didn't make them. They found them.
Retrofitted.
Yep, they retrofit those doorways to work for the size of human beings now. Like, even look at the lights. Why would you need lights up that high?
Well, I mean, the ceiling's that high, so.
Yeah, they wouldn't build lights up that high. Who's going to change the damn light bulbs? They would make it
You're gonna have to
easy.
have one
They would
hell of
make
a lighter,
it easy.
or
That's what I'm
ladder.
trying to say. They would make it as easy as possible for them to go and change light bulbs, to keep the place clean, stuff like that. And you don't build stuff like this if it's not easy to maintain. It's simple human nature. We
Yeah.
don't build houses with 14-foot tall doorways. Why? Because we don't want to get up there and clean it or do work on a place 15 feet in the air unless it's absolutely necessary. That's all I'm saying. Maybe giants?
Maybe.
Okay.
I mean, this isn't a super big building, but
But those are big doorways. I mean, let's put it
Big
this way. Those
doorways.
doorways are probably 8 feet tall. And they're another 4 to 4 feet up the middle right there.
yeah.
So you're talking about 12-foot doorway. Why? Why do you need 12-foot doorways of stone?
Good point.
And
good
why do you
point.
retrofit them to be smaller?
Good point.
This is very important to remember in this research. If one thing survives from the old world, there normally will be other hidden gems
I don't
that
think he's
made
gonna
it
talk
through
about
as
that
well. And just wait to see how
he didn't
right
notice
this
it.
theory is. Get ready to have your mind blown today. But first, here we have this pillar, and our current civilization has no idea what to do with it. So what do we do? What should we do?
Oh, what is it?
Well, we should dress it up and disguise it, of course, with the ugliest parking sign you've ever seen in your entire life. This is a disgrace, honestly. This is just as good as graffiti.
Got a point there.
These buildings deserve much more respect than this.
That's funny.
Come on, Virginia. You're better than this.
What is the
Can we
point?
zoom in on this picture a little? Is there something behind this yellow parking thing?
Yes,
Is
there
this
is.
thing hiding something? If anyone is there close by, can you please go over there and see what's behind this thing? And send me a picture to my email address?
I
would
love the
love to
fact you
share with
throw those
everyone what is
email address for it.
actually there and written on this thing. I'm 100% sure it doesn't say, park over here or you're gonna get a boot on your car. Okay, so I wasn't wrong. Let's look literally right across the street. And what do we have here? The Da Vinci Center. Okay, let's have some fun. What is happening here? The
Not as
stone
impressive, but
on this
nonetheless,
thing
that looks like more like
so
the
old.
archways
archways
like
are
a house.
impressive.
Multiple
Yeah, it
arches.
looks like more
and
like a house
suspect window.
than the other place would have
That
been.
clearly proves that we have action
doors.
and something going
There's
on
windows in the
underground.
ground.
I would love to go inside this building and see what they have going on. I would not be shocked at all if there are tunnels. This building is now a part of Virginia Commonwealth University. So whenever you try to find any information on it, it just comes up with enroll here and all this nonsense. Great way to hide the history of a building. Turn it into a college. Let's continue down the block and see if this block is giving us anything else. Monroe Park giving us a nice aerial star symbol. Very interesting.
that's weird.
And what do we have here?
Is that a
We
pentagram?
have another building that is from the old world, of course. Grace and Holy Trinity Episcopal Church. So another
Holy
church
crap, look
on
at
the
that
same
tower.
block.
Look, it
How
just
many
looks
churches
old,
do these
even
people
in that
need in
picture.
1900?
It is.
Okay, so this
Looks
place
aged.
is founded in 1858. Notice they say founded. This
Yeah,
was
that's
not
believable if they have a
constructed.
timeline
They admit
for
it right
building
here.
it
It was
in
found
15
So how
years.
many people even lived in this town in 1858? 38,000 people in Richmond? with like 12,000 that were slaves, so they weren't going to church. So 26,000 people needed these massive structures? Does this make sense? Remember, there were also children a part of this population. So who constructed this place? And I'm just going to add in the next structure right
not
now.
Us.
So we can prove this point beyond
How about that one? Not
right
us.
next door,
just not
from this church, we have the Altria Theater, holding 3,565 people, while also having an 18,000 square foot ballroom.
Crap,
this
that's a
one
big
was
building.
also built in just 2 years. Of course it was. It also holds a basement where the Richmond Police Department got to go set up shop. There's enough room down there for office space.
Does that look like a police station to you?
A gymnasium. And a shooting range.
It seems like
that's it.
a lot of these
That's not
old
it, of
buildings are
Just repurposed.
They also had a swimming pool.
Yep.
This was simple construction in 2 years in the early 1900s. Very easy. Which construction company was in charge of building these buildings on the same exact block that completely destroy our current day construction? How can this be possible? Anyone going to see Baby Shark
That
Live
is big.
should have a great time.
That's
I wonder
a-
how
that's
many
a
of them know that
bunch
they
of
are about to go into an old world
not as
building.
impressive
Let's
as
even
the
take a look
cathedral,
at this
but it's
thing. Just going
quite
straight
impressive.
up and spiraling for about 75 feet in the air.
It's
Something
section.
that Bobby can
it's
go
definitely
work on over on the
section,
side for a couple of
Section
weeks
that
with his
to make
special
it
chisel.
seamless is
Then lift that thing up on the
not easy.
scaffolding. Get some glue on it, and it'll be over there forever. Easy. Simple construction 100 years ago. This is what we are told. This is the world we are in. We are being lied to at every turn, in my opinion. And given these crazy stories, they are hiding the truth about these buildings and giving us these crazy stories that
Okay,
don't
pause
make
for a
any
second.
sense. And then
Here's my question, okay? All the other buildings around it have some sort of a roof, and I'm sure they have drainage. This building is from the late 1800s, correct?
Yes.
It's a flat roof, which means not only did they have the ingenuity to build a building this big, they also had some sort of drainage that would drain out the roof that wouldn't let the roof flood and break down over time.
Right.
And yet it's lasted over 100 years through all these storms.
I'm sure it's been maintenance.
But nonetheless, like, what about what are they going to say? Like, oh yeah, we've maintained it for the last 100 years. We have a guy that goes on the roof and fills in all the cracks and the stones and everything, or was it just so perfectly made back then, not by us?
The roof is probably lumber. Most likely.
By us now.
Well,
I'm saying before when it was built.
who knows?
What was that roof?
Who knows?
Did they take the roof off? Was there actually a sloped roof at some point?
Maybe.
That's what I'm saying.
Maybe it was bigger.
I mean, it just out of place. Look at that. Like, they just grotesquely put stuff on the roof. Look at that.
Yeah.
Doesn't look
retrofitted.
like it was made for that. Like, you would think that part of your plans would be to add those things into the top of the roof and make them work with the rest of the system. They're just shoved on there.
I mean, I totally think that we could have built these buildings, but what makes it difficult to believe is the timeline.
Right. I'm also looking at ingenuity. Like, okay, we obviously built the other building across the street, right? You can tell it's blocky. It doesn't have any design to it. But look at the roof. All the AC systems and stuff are built into another ridge line. It's built into the structure of the building. Whereas this one, they just slap the stuff on top of it.
Well, yeah, because there wasn't air conditioning at the time.
But you see what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
You would think that if they would have built it, that they would have designed some sort of roof on top of it, like we do with modern buildings. All modern buildings, even from the 1800s forward, they built some kind of roof on top of stuff.
Yeah.
There's no roof. Almost like they had, some kind of technology as far as drainage goes that we don't have.
Well, we have flat roof buildings.
But we have drainage systems built into it that you can see.
I'm sure there's got to be drainage on
I'm
that.
just making an observation.
There's got to be drainage.
I'm just making an observation.
And yes, they must have put drainage on it.
Okay, go ahead and continue on.
don't explain
That
why
was
we
my
never
fire.
build anything close to this ever again. And especially not in just 2 years, but they did it all the time back then. It was no problem at all. 2 years, done. Well, I hope you guys all enjoyed today's... Wait, no. There's more? There's more. The Jefferson Hotel, right down the street. Construction began in 1892. It took 25 years to build. Could you imagine?
Wow.
Of course not.
Okay,
this thing
think
only
about
took
this for a
3 years
second.
to build.
25 years.
Finished right up
Why
in
would they
1895
spend that
because
kind of
they
money
had
on
to
a
meet their
hotel?
deadline. 6 years later, in 1901,
6 years.
the entire interior was destroyed by fire. The restoration process took 6 years.
You don't put that kind of time and effort into a
reopened in
hotel.
1907. So let me get this straight. It took double the time to restore it than it did to build the entire thing. And anyone who has watched my previous episodes will know about the fire.
By the way, guys, watch all of
Proving
those.
that these are old world buildings.
Yeah, they're really
I'm
good.
just glad that there was only one fire this time. I don't think I could handle the second fire. Oh no. What is this? In 1944, they tried to destroy it again. Another fire broke out in 1944 and killed 6 people. Could you imagine what was inside that place that they
A lot of
didn't want us
fires
to
going
see?
on back then.
Is this
Yeah,
how we
all
build
the time.
hotels today?
And
Could
stone
we
buildings.
I mean, I
possibly
do get that
construct
they didn't
any
have
of these
power and they
buildings
had
that we've seen
lanterns
today?
and stuff
Is it
inside.
possible?
But
No,
stone
it
buildings
isn't.
don't
and not
burn
in
down.
2-3 years. What is going on with this
All right, but
knowledge
they
of
could have a
VCU?
fire inside.
Did they
Yeah, they
find
could.
these buildings and
Fire pit.
repurpose them? In my opinion, I would say yes.
Retrofitted
And are
items.
they the only college that's done this? We will get into that in the future episodes. There is much more to discover.
It is.
Wait,
Is that
are we still
marble?
not done with this block at
Marble
VCU?
pillars? That's what it looks
right
like.
next door from the hotel, we have this. Anyone want to let me know
Yeah,
what
that
this
looks
place
very
is?
out of place. And
Located
once
on
again,
19
looks like a
pause,
Capitol
pause,
building.
pause, pause. Oh, once again, look at the
Big
doors.
doors. It looks like a Capitol building,
Yeah.
like what they would make a Capitol building.
What I'm saying, all these old, have we not noticed that? All these old world buildings that he points out, all of them have big ass doorways like that.
like Romanesque.
Yeah, like big ass doorways though. That okay, look at this. If you look at that whole door where there's 3 different doors as well, look what's in the middle. One peak, as if that whole structure right there could have been one doorway.
Yeah. Why is there 3 doors though?
Yeah, there's
I
3
think
doors
the
and one
pillars-
archway.
Yeah, that's weird.
It's very weird.
It's
Very
a
out of place.
strange shape. Everything.
Go ahead. That's
Richmond,
once
Virginia.
again same
No
door thing
name,
again.
no nothing.
I
It's
see-
just sitting here, not being
looks
used.
like
People
down
walking
below,
right past like it's nothing.
doors.
Completely blind to what is
Windows.
sitting
Go
right in front
underground
of them.
again.
Yeah.
It's the nail in the coffin for episode 30. And for fun to rub it in, of course they have
did
a
you see that too?
Founders Hall building
The doors have
where
little
the people
archways
that
over them. that are
found all
different
these
brick than the
buildings
rest of it.
lived. Yep, that one right there, that's ours. I don't know, guys. What should we name this building that we found? Well, we found
Once
it,
again,
so let's
window
name it
above the door.
Founders Hall. Perfect. Where we are told that we live is much, much different than where we actually are. This is not normal, and it is very clear at this point. Remember, we are unsure which building will
that's
be next to
believable.
go up in flames.
But notice
It's so
how the whole
repetitive,
building's still there.
and we need to keep
Yeah.
making this known so that
That's
we all
how
wake
a
up and see them when
brick
we walk
building
past them.
works.
They are the hidden key to the past civilizations, in
collapse
my
into
opinion.
rubble.
And these buildings are being destroyed to hide our true history. A fire is a great way to say it was an accident. It's one way to destroy a building without putting blame on someone. Who do we get mad at if a guy isn't hitting it with a wrecking ball? Fires ruin the old world without a planned demolition. And don't forget that the owner surely gets their money back through insurance claims instead of paying for a demolition process. And I don't feel like ending this episode
If
yet.
they didn't build it,
So
they're getting
thank
money
you for this
free.
comment and letting me know about the Hungarian Parliament building. Construction for this massive project began in 1885.
Wow.
A
Granted, it didn't have
four-story,
the lights on it back then,
315-foot
maybe.
high, 691-room palace with 10 courtyards,
See, and okay, pause it
29
once again.
staircases.
Once again, would we have built all these huge spires at the top of these towers if it was not easy? What's the point in them?
What's the point of them?
Unless there was wireless power of some sort, some old technology we don't know about. There's no point in like there's tons of them. I mean, that's pretty design and everything, but if you didn't have those peaks like that, would it look any less impressive? Not really. That's a big building.
It's just whatever. For some reason, all these old buildings had these peaks. Like
Right.
It was like some sort of purpose.
Right. But that's what I'm trying to say. If they wouldn't have built them if it wasn't for a purpose that they needed. If it wasn't for a purpose, they wouldn't have built them. Why go out of your way? We wouldn't do it today, right? We wouldn't add
We put antennas on them.
right, but we wouldn't build something huge on a building that had no purpose and waste the money and time to do so unless it's necessary.
Right.
So either those are necessary or it was easy. It can't be none of those things. It can't be, it was really hard and we built them for no reason.
Right.
That doesn't make any sense.
Right. It's pretty impressive, though.
Yeah.
This is your everyday building in 1885, of course. Now, the incredible thing about this place is that it's not just about one building. The entire block is filled with buildings that do not belong to our timeline. We have the Memorial of National Cohesion, the Ministry of Agriculture, and, of course, a chocolate museum. They should have added a few more pillars to the chocolate museum. How embarrassing. I'm not sure how these people could go to work in such a horrible-looking building. Yeah. The chocolate museum deserves more.
Once again, windows above the doors.
Hundreds of people just walking past the chocolate museum.
You know, he hasn't talked about
understanding what they're walking next to.
You ever heard him talk about that?
Could you imagine
all these retrofitted windows above doors? I haven't heard him talk about.
I think people would come from all over the world to see the construction
really sticking
process.
out to me, especially in this episode.
Back to this Parliament building. It's massive. They say that 100,000 people were involved in its construction. They used 40 million bricks
doors in the front
and 500,000 precious stones and 88 pounds of gold were used. Remember,
let's see it.
As long as they say they
look at
have
that
the money,
windows on top of the doors. What do you learn?
It could be your average Joe or prisoner, like we've shown before. Doesn't matter who it is.
That's impressive.
They will bring the architect's drawing to life in no time, every time.
Like they were
fully trusted with the 88 pounds of gold, and any one of those 100,000 people could get the job done. Just call them over here, pick it out of a hat. The project will be completed perfectly. 8 years after the construction began, it was done. In 1904, of course. This sentence right here proves to me that this building doesn't belong to our timeline. Today, the government uses only a small portion of the building. Of course they do. They found and repurposed this building, in my opinion. They don't need the whole thing because it wasn't built for this purpose. Whoever built this building needed the whole thing. They needed all 691.
Look over the top of the doors. Look over the top of the doors.
They needed the chocolate factory building as well. The whole area was of importance.
Build like that.
No, it wasn't just barely used. And we all fully understand this now.
We can. We don't because it's hard. See what I'm trying to say? That's what I'm trying to say.
Building in 8 years in the 1800s.
Yep.
Along with the rest of the town. And we only need a small portion of it today. In 2023.
Apparently,
something incredible happened here in this area. And I'm just going to take you guys all around this area on Google Earth here for a little bit and show you that this used to be an incredible empire, in my opinion. The buildings are all so perfectly laid out. The buildings are all repurposed and turned into random things. This one is the Americana Public Library.
Once again, big window over all the doors.
Everything's got big
everything
pillars.
I've seen on this subject.
Big Romanesque
I've seen some incredible structures. We all have. But this town right here might be the most impressive one I've ever seen. This was not built to be a library. Who builds a random library like this? Do any of our towns have any plans to draw up one of these and get the job done in a couple years? No. Are we even close to constructing anything like this? No, we're not. We couldn't build this if we had 10 million people and unlimited funds, in my opinion. It's not about the money, and it's not about the amount of people. It's about the technology. And I want to make this very clear. You have to understand how to construct something like this.
Windows over the doors again.
Something that will last forever, unless it is demolished or lit on fire, which we've seen many times. And it's not just this library. It's the chocolate store. It's the Parliament building. It's the entire city of Budapest. This is incredible stuff. If anyone can go inside these places and get a video or pictures, please send that to my email, mylunchbreak1@gmail.com. Just incredible stuff. I'm glad we covered that. There's so much in this city. Don't be shy if we come back and revisit this city with further detail and even more buildings in the near future. Don't forget that there are a bunch of brand new t-shirts. You can find that right below this video.
Tons of designs.
Every purchase really helps support the channel and goes towards more boots on the ground work. Liking this video and commenting helps to share this video with new people, as well as when you subscribe to the channel. I couldn't be more thankful for all the support you guys give. Our Twitter account is up and running, and we are over on Rumble as well.
Go follow
Both of those links will be in the description below.
Check out a lot of
If you have anything to add or any thoughts on the video, or have any ideas for future videos, just put that in the comments below. Thank you all for your support, and I hope you all have a great day. I will be back very soon with much more. See ya.
Don't trust what you see.
All right, guys. Well, that was our day off, and it's over now. It's back to work. So,
have a good afternoon.
Later.